right, so the formula for quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So first you want to make sure that it's in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, and if it has an equal sign, you want it to be equal to 0. If it doesn't, then that means it already is in the proper form. All right, so I like to always label what my a, b, and c is to help me plug it in. So what does a equal? 1, b equal 2, and c negative 3. Write small, because remember, we don't have a lot of room and it is lengthy. Okay, and then we're going to plug it into, so remember the formula is x equals, because we're trying to find those x-intercepts. And then it's negative b, so we're going to put negative parentheses, and then b is 2. So always put the negative on the outside of the parentheses there, because it's negative b. Plus or minus, because remember when we find the square root of something, we have the positive and the negative of it. So they just put that plus or minus in the equation. B squared, so again, put it inside parentheses, squared. It's going to always be minus 4 after that. And then times a, which is 1, and times c, which is negative 35. And then over 2 times a, so 2 times 1. So you're just substituting all those values for a, b, and c. All right, then break it into different parts. So solve what's on like the outside of the radical. So if it's negative times 2, what do we get? Negative 2. Remember, it's like an invisible negative 1 out here. So negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Plus or minus, and then square that first term. What's 2 squared? 4. Now this is where my students in first block, we were getting kind of tripped up, so I was thinking maybe of showing it a little differently with you guys. So this one, it's subtracting, so maybe let's just keep, because I was telling them to think of it as negative 4, but maybe just keep it as subtract, because a lot of my students were getting confused with that, and then just multiply 4 times 1 times negative 35. So what's 4 times 1? 4, and then 4 times negative 35. So that's the thing. I don't know. Let me tell you both ways, because I feel like that might confuse you too. Because you can think of this as a negative 4. So then if it's negative 4 times 1, what do you get? Negative 4, and then what's negative 4 times negative 35? 140. So that's the way I like to do it, and then that's positive 140, so we add it. Because then if you did it the other way, it would be minus negative 140. So here, I'm actually just going to tell you guys the same way, because I feel like that's more confusing. So think of it as negative 4. When you're multiplying, do negative 4 times 1, and then negative 4 times negative 35. So whatever you get when you multiply those all together, if it's positive, you're going to add it. If it's negative, you're going to subtract it. And then on the denominator, what's 2 times 1? 2. All right, then simplify under the radical. What's 4 plus 140? 144. So square root of 144 over 2. Now this is where we then find the square root. So what is the square root of 144? 12. So now we create our 2 equations, just like we were doing with the completing the square, because we have plus or minus. So we would do negative 2 plus 12, and then divided by 2, and then negative 2 minus 12 divided by 2. So one's going to have the plus, one's going to have the minus. Then simplify it. First do the numerator, add them together, and then divide. What's negative 2 plus 12? 10, and 10 divided by 2? 5. So one of our x-intercepts is 5. And then negative 2 minus 12. Negative 14 divided by 2. Negative 7. So this has 2 solutions, x equals 5 and x equals negative 7. So again, just another way to find those x-intercepts. All right, let's do one more together. 9x squared minus 9x minus 5. So again, it has to be equal to 0. If not, you're going to have to move it, whatever the number is there, up to the other side. All right, for this one, what does A equal? 9, B, negative 9, and C. All right, so plug it into our formula. So negative B, so see how B is already negative. So I'm going to put that negative on the outside, and then I'm going to put negative 9 on the inside. So it's going to give you that double negative. Plus or minus the square root of negative 9 squared. Which one? This one? Yes. So then that double negative will turn into a positive, yes. So if your B value is negative, it's going to become positive because it's negative B. So negative B becomes positive B. 9. And then this is negative 4 or minus 4 times 9, which is our A value, times our C value, negative 5, over 2A, so over 2 times 9. All right, so like we were just saying, negative times negative 9 becomes positive 9. Now, be careful, you guys, because I tell you all the time, when you type negative 9 squared in your calculator, what do you have to always use? Parentheses. If you guys just do negative 9 squared, it's not going to give you the right answer. Why is it not negative 81? It's a negative times a negative. So the calculator has to have the parentheses. Calculators are smart to a point, but you got to help them out a little. So you have to put parentheses around a negative when you're squaring it in the calculator. Or just remember, okay, I know a negative squared is always going to be positive. So this first number under the radical will always be positive, no matter what, because negative squared is positive and a positive squared is positive. So positive 81. And then I'll just have you guys do the same way. So think of this as negative 4. So what's negative 4 times 9 times negative 5? So 180. So if it's positive 180, we're going to add it. So remember, these two values you either add or subtract. If it's negative, you would subtract. And then do your denominator. What's 2 times 9? 18. All right, then simplify under the radical. What is 81 plus 180? 260. Or 261. So 9 plus or minus the square root of 261 over 18. So depending on how LEAP shows their answers, they might want you to convert it to decimal or keep it in radical form. So this is one way to show your answer, because what is do it in your calculator, what is the square root of 261? What kind of number does it give you? Irrational. So if it's irrational, it might want you to, so let's just round it to a decimal, just to practice that. So let's do the nearest tenths place. So what would this be rounded to the nearest tenths? 16.2. So remember, look at the point, the 1 is the tenths place, so we would look at the 5 to the right of it. 5 would tell us to round 1 up to 2. So then when we rewrite our two equations, we'll use 16.2. So one equation will have 9 plus 16.2 divided by 18, and the other one will have 9 minus 16.2 divided by 18. All right, then solve those in your calculator. Oh yeah, and since we're rounding, we'll use the little tildes for approximately equal to. So what would this first one be? 1.4. And then 9 minus 16.2 to negative 0.4. So those would be an approximation of our x-intercepts. It's a rounded value. All right. Questions? Glue it in if you haven't already, and then we're going to add like a title like vertically next to it, so I'll show you that. And these are our last set of notes. in this class. I'm going to grade your notebooks tomorrow, so if you need to borrow my notebook, if anyone's been absent, let me know. Or watch my videos. Oh, I can stop my video.